Hey there, it's Tom Corson-Knowles, #1 best-selling author of Secrets of the Six-Figure Author and founder of TCK Publishing. I want to show you how to find an amazing book cover designer, whether you write fiction, nonfiction, fantasy, sci-fi, thriller, romance, self-help, personal development, health and wellness, whatever kind of books you're writing. We wrote this really detailed article that walks you through every step of the process of how to find some amazing book cover designers. And so I want to show you what's possible and how you can actually go through this process to find some great book cover designers. So the first thing you want to understand is kind of like how much does it actually cost to hire a book cover designer. So we talked about that at the beginning of the article. And basically what I found of becoming an author for 6 years now, publishing over 400 books at TCK Publishing, if you're paying more than about $350 for your book cover design, chances are you're paying too much. Now, there are some exceptions to that. For example, if you're writing a fantasy series and you want custom designed fantasy covers where all of the illustrations and imageries, like you want a certain kind of dragon and a certain kind of character that's actually illustrated on a computer by a professional to create that original artwork for you. If you need that kind of original artwork design, it's going to probably cost you a little bit more, around $500 to $1,000 possibly for some really, really high-end design. But if you're paying more than that, or if you're paying in that price range for, a personal development book cover or a nutrition book cover or, a romance book cover, you're probably overpaying. And so there's a lot of different options everywhere from like Fiverr.com for a $5 book cover up to, the really high-end book cover designers that charge in the $500 to $1,000 range. If you're paying more than $1,000, there's a very high chance you're just getting ripped off, right? I don't know any professional cover designer who's legitimate, who does amazing work, who actually charges more than $1,000. So if you're paying like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a book cover design, you're most likely actually getting scammed. So definitely learn how to protect yourself from getting scammed when you're hiring book cover designers, because that's a big mistake a lot of folks make, is you just hire someone you find online or hire some random person that was referred to you, and you don't actually do any kind of background checks or calling their references or really finding out, talking to their existing clients to find out if they've actually done good work before. So one good place to start if you're really on a tight budget is Fiverr.com. You can find designs on Fiverr.com for anywhere from like $5 to $55. The problem with Fiverr is that you have to go through a whole bunch of folks, right? So you probably have to look at like 100 different designers on Fiverr to find maybe 3 or 4 that are actually really good, that can do the kind of work that you're looking for. So here are some examples of images you can see on the screen of book covers that were designed by Fiverr cover designers for between $5 and $55. So you can see they're pretty awesome. For $5 book covers, these are pretty amazing. They're not the best quality book cover designs in the entire world, but they're really darn good for a really, really great price. Some other things you should know about when you're getting a book cover design, especially if you're going to use something like Fiverr, because the issue with Fiverr is you can't actually communicate directly with the designer. You communicate with them through the Fiverr platform, but it's not like you have their phone number and their Skype. It's not like you really know who they are. You often don't even know what their name is. And you don't know their work process, right? So if they use some kind of imagery or stock photos that they haven't bought the rights for properly, it's not a Creative Commons 0 license that can be used for free for any purpose at all, then you can actually be liable for copyright infringement for using images that you don't own and don't have the rights to. So there's a couple sites that we talk about, Pexels.com, Pixabay.com, and Unsplash.com. that all allow that all of the stock photos on these sites are completely free to use for any commercial purposes whatsoever. So those are some good sites to check out if you're going to hire a designer from Fiverr.com. What I recommend you do is either find the image yourself that has that Creative Commons 0 license that's free to use on one of these sites and send that image to the Fiverr designer and say, hey, please use this image. Or tell the designer, hey, we have to make sure that we're using a Creative Commons 0 license, so please find the image from one of these sites and then let me know the link to that image when you use it for the cover, so you can actually verify that they did find stock photos that are actually free to use. Otherwise, again, you can be liable, and you don't want that kind of legal bill later down the road. It's just not worth it. Now, the other thing about Fiverr is that it's really tough to ask for changes and revisions. So, if you're going to hire someone on Fiverr, You can ask for some revisions, but if you want like 5 revisions or 10 revisions, it's probably not going to be the place for you. If you need 5 different mockups, you're probably going to have to pay for 5 different Fiverr gigs rather than having your designer come up with 5 different mockups for 1 gig. So that's just something to keep into account. So if you want, if you have a cover design for a book you want to do and you want 5 or 6 mockups and you're not really sure which mockup is going to be the best, and you add up all that price on Fiverr, it might be cheaper to do it on Fiverr, or it might be cheaper to actually just connect with a freelance designer individually to actually get them to do a bunch of different mockups for you and negotiate that at the beginning to get a better price. So you're gonna have to kind of compare and see what is the best strategy for you there. Generally speaking, I love working with individuals, designers, one-on-one, because I get to know their phone number, their Skype, their email. We get to build a relationship over time. We can negotiate better rates. We can get them to do more kinds of mockups for us, and just be more creative and have a more collaborative partnership because we get to know each other better over time. So I find that works best for me, but find out what works best for you and your budget and your goals. Now, there's a bunch of different freelancing sites you can use to find cover designers. So there's Upwork.com, which is the biggest by far. There's like Guru.com and Freelancer.com, some other sites like that. So here are some images of some covers from designers on Upwork.com. So pretty awesome stuff. You can get a lot of these covers for like less than $100. So you can get some really great rates on Upwork. And some really great covers designs. So, and then in the rest of the post, we walk you through the actual process of how to actually go through posting your gig to find cover designers on Upwork.com. Again, Upwork.com is like the biggest freelancing site in the world. There's like over 12 million freelancers on there and like hundreds of thousands of book cover designers and graphic designers on there. So it actually walks you through everything in this post, from like the script to post for your job, how to actually go through and sort through folks. But what I really want to focus on in this video is make sure you understand when you're hiring a designer, when you're hiring any kind of freelancer for any kind of work, what you really want to make sure that you do is do your research, do your homework. Don't just hire the person who looks the best on paper. Make sure you actually talk to their existing clients, talk to their references, get to know this person, really look at their portfolio to make sure they can design the kind of work that you've done. So for example, if you have a fantasy book cover and you want a certain kind of feel or look to that cover, and they've never done a fantasy book cover before, they don't have it in their portfolio, you probably shouldn't hire that person, right? Because they don't have experience doing what you're looking for them to do. So that's kind of number one. But then number two is, once you've verified that they have a portfolio, that it looks great and actually matches what you're looking for, then you want to actually go through the process of asking for references. Okay, ask for references and get them to tell you, who they've worked with for, and talk to their past clients to make sure they were happy with the work that they delivered. And then there's some more stuff we cover in the blog post, and I'll link to that below this video. But that's basically the process you want to go through, and then you can negotiate, the rates and how fast their turnaround time is and so forth. A big issue that a lot of folks have is very common with creative folks when you're hiring a creative person, either full-time or for just a standalone job like doing a single book cover design. It's really easy to find folks who are flaky, right? Folks who say, hey, I'll have this cover back to you in a week, and 2 months later, you're still trying to track them down to get the actual final book cover that you need. So keep that in mind as well. Look for folks who not only do great work, but actually deliver your work on a deadline. So make sure you set really clear deadlines for your designers and make sure they stick to them. And if they don't stick to them, let them know, hey, look, if you do not stick to this deadline, I'm not willing to pay for the project. I'm going to have to hire someone else to finish this project because this is the deadline I'm on. And the reason you want to do that is so you set the expectations really clearly early on, and so you don't set yourself up for failure. So you don't set up your business in a way that you're waiting for someone to deliver for the project to be complete. You need to make sure your projects get done on time by deadline. And the way you do this, by communicating, by setting the deadline ahead of time, and by making sure that you and the designer and whoever you're working with agrees to that deadline up front. The other thing is never pay up front. So, if they say, hey, it's going to be $100 to design this book cover, don't pay $100 up front and then wait for the design. Say, hey, look, I'll pay you after the design is completed and accepted, and then I'll send you the money and you can send me the final files that are ready to publish. So that's the best way to do it, to protect you and to protect the designer and to make sure that the work actually gets done on time. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions about this, please post your comments below. Like this video. Make sure you check out the blog post as well below to check out how you can find an amazing cover designer for your book. you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to help. All right, and please share this with other folks you know. If you know some authors or publishers out there who are looking for some amazing designers and don't know how to go about that process, this video and this blog post will help them actually make it work and find the best designers for your job. All right, wishing you an incredible day. Take care.